Thanks for all the prayers out there. I really appreciate it. Ankle's feeling much better. I also appreciate the homeopathic suggestions on helping my ankle, and I will tell you they are working. We went out and purchased those items and applied them, and it's awesome. So hopefully, you know, still hobbling around, but it's all good. So today I want to talk about just a brief video. So much happening. The election is looming, and so many things could happen and probably will happen regardless of who's elected. And we just need to be prepared, right? I was just looking over some of the conference talks, and President Nelson counseling us to continue to prepare. It's not a one-time event, right? Both temporally and spiritually. Elder Bednar covered it really well, and Bishop Waddell covered it very well. Wonderful conference messages. It's a little easier for me to look at the hard copy that just arrived, and so I enjoy it because of the footnotes are easier for me to access. Not so much are they easier than the electronic version, but it just, I don't know, it's just something about highlighting and looking at it for, I'm an old guy, right? It's just the old school. So I want to go to Joel. Towards the end of the Old Testament, we have these. Some people have called them the lesser prophets. I don't know why, but I love them because they really focus on the last days, particularly around particularly around the events that are going to happen in Jerusalem. In Joel chapter 3. There's this really interesting set of verses that really hit me. I was reading it this morning. Joel chapter 3, I'm going to start in verse 12. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathens round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. They're ripe for destruction, right? Verse 14, again I'm in Joel chapter 3, now verse 14. Now listen to this. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. So, the valley of decision, that is the topic. The valley of decision. We are all in the valley of decision. Now, we're not physically in the Kidron Valley, which is this valley. It's kind of the north end of the valley, from what I understand and what research I did this morning. But think of the events that took place in the Valley of Decision. Now we have an Old Testament. I think it's in Genesis 14, where Abraham went to Jerusalem, and he met with Melchizedek. But when he arrived there, he also met in the Valley of the Kings, it says. But most people think that it's the Valley of Decision. It's the valley, the Kidron Valley. He met with the king of Sodom, the Sodom and Gomorrah fame, right, or infamy. The Valley of Decision was a decision for Abraham. because both of these kings presented Abraham with an offering. And the king of Sodom offered him riches, spoils from wars, in turn for people. Give me people. Presumably people that Abraham had under his rule, if you will. Melchizedek offered him basically the sacrament, bread and wine. And Abraham took the bread and wine, and he said to the king of Sodom, I want absolutely nothing from you. And if you think about it, the king of Sodom, he wanted the souls of men in change or in turn for money, for wealth, giving the wealth to Abraham, and in turn controlling the souls of men. And what Melchizedek offered was the sacrament, which saves the souls of men, saves the souls of men. So I love that. So this is one of the first stories of the Valley of Decision. And then, of course, we know exactly what took place in Jerusalem, and where Abraham was later to take Isaac, to sacrifice him, where he proved himself to the Lord, and he made that decision in that valley, in that area, and upon that mount. Now, he actually wasn't right in the valley then for that decision, but he was within it's close, right? He's looking down in the valley from the Temple Mount, where it's thought that he offered up Isaac as a sacrifice, and of course a ram was provided. God was allowing Abraham to make a decision. Are you going to let me prevail, or are you going to let the world prevail? And he let God prevail in his life, and he became the father of many nations, right? Okay, so we have that. What else happened in the Kidron Valley? What decision had to be made? Well, there's so many, but let's just go to the main one. Really, everything pointed to this decision. So Christ leaves the city of Jerusalem, goes down into the Kidron Valley, the Valley of Decision, and that is where he went through the valley and went on the other side to the Garden of Gethsemane. And that's where he made the decision to take upon him the sins of the world, to take upon him, where he bled from every pore, take upon him the unrepented sins. This is a quote from Elder Oaks at the Mission President's Seminar. The central message of the gospel is the atonement of Jesus Christ, his resurrection, and his suffering for our repented sins. So we've talked about that before. But Christ made a decision in the Valley of Decision. Yeah. So many amazing things happen in the Kidron Valley, in the Valley of Decision, in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, in the Valley of the Kings. There's a lot of names. And I just thought that was really interesting for us. What decisions are we making right now? We are all in the Valley of Decision. Whether we like it or not, we are making decisions daily. And what my hope is during this time of a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of uneasiness, particularly here in the United States, with our election and with things happening, the decision that we should be making in our valley is the decision to let God prevail in our lives, right? Let God prevail. All the blessings that come. Now, to continue on in Joel, chapter 3, the last two verses are really blessings of deciding to follow God, to let him prevail in our lives. But Judah, this is verse 20 and 21, but Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. One of the blessings of Israel, right there. I just got goosebumps. So that's a bit of a message today, the valley of decision. We're all in it. We all make decisions that have, in many cases, eternal consequences, right? Eternal consequences of what we're going to be doing, how we are going to follow our Savior, how we are going to let him prevail in our lives, or are we going to follow Babylon? Are we going to follow the world? Are we going to accept the gift from the king of Sodom? Or are we going to accept the gift, the offering of Melchizedek? And that's really what it's all about. So God bless you all. I just love your comments. I love reading them. I love reading the comments of the comments. You guys are amazing. Way more intelligent than I am. Wonderful insights. And it uplifts me. And together we're going to go through that valley of decision, and we're going to help each other. And we're going to be united and look out for each other and not let petty differences divide us. That's what we're going to do in this great valley of decision that we're all in. So with that, let's see what happens in the next few days. And we'll probably won't talk to you until after the election. And with that, I will bid you all adieu.